Good things can certainly happen to good people, but I learned throughout the course of my time as a primary caregiver for my mom who had non-Hodgkin lymphoma that bad things can repeatedly happen to good people until they die. In the concluding moment of August 10th in my book, Losing Lena May, a Cancer Caregiving Memoir, which also happens to be the end of the first part, my dad, my mom's best friend Judy, my Aunt Lolly, and I are sitting around eating pizza, kind of stunned that my mom's craniotomy, of all things, went very smoothly, and she came out on the other side of having her skull cut into and blood drained from her brain, seemingly more like her pre-cancer self than even in the prior months leading up to the stem cell transplant. It was kind of miraculous. So in discussing the good news, Judy brings up that the odds had to eventually go in our favor, and she reminds us that good things do come to good people and that we couldn't forget that. My dad is rightfully skeptical, and so is I in that moment, because we had just had such a bad run of luck. It just didn't seem like it fit in the narrative of my mom's cancer treatment that something would actually go right for once. Prior to my mom's cancer relapsing and metastasizing to her brain and spinal cord, which drastically reduced her likelihood of achieving a permanent remission, my naive self did believe that good things happen to good people and there was a karmic balance to the universe such that if you went through hardship on the other side, you would be rewarded in some way to kind of even the scale back to neutral. And that was my perspective on how the world worked, which was shaped by a lot of different contributing factors. Probably the most important one was that up until the time where my mom was initially diagnosed, I lived a very privileged life. I didn't have a lot of adversity other than, maybe being gay, growing up in the conservative Midwest. Otherwise, my family was upper middle class, so I never had to worry about food not being on the table. I went to a great public school system. I then went to college at an amazing university, which was paid for without student loans. So I just lived a very fortunate life, which I am very grateful for, but it did condition me to believe that good things do happen to good people, because from my lens, I was seeing the good people around me prospering because I was not surrounded by people who had to face a lot of adversity in their upbringing and in their lives. The extent of the adversity I would come to know was seeing the unhoused population of New York on a daily basis. But that kind of was a very specific situation, and it wasn't mapping onto all the different ways people suffer across the world and across the country. It was just, these people are unhoused, but everyone else around me is doing okay. So that's the most significant factor. But then propping that up are all the media narratives that I had consumed since I was a child, because that's where it starts. When you're a little kid, all the books you read say that if you follow the rules and you do the right thing, good things happen. Like, that is the formula allegedly to life. And so you start getting conditioned even from that early age to believe that that's how simple things can be. And then that just gets further reinforced by all the character arcs in movies and TV shows where the good guy always wins and the bad guy always loses. Even after I started watching the most depressing films in college because I want to subject myself to the horrors and the harsh realities of life from a distance, from on a screen, not in my actual day-to-day, I still believe that that was just someone's morbid imagination, that actually in real life, things don't happen that way. There is a karmic balance that is adhered to. Naturally, because I went to college for film and television, and then after I graduated, I started writing novels, I started furthering this perspective by writing my own stories and leading characters down that same path that I had seen be taken so many times throughout my life. They would always come to a positive conclusion because that is how life is supposed to work. So when my mom was initially diagnosed, I had this arsenal already prepared of this positive reinforcements that good things were going to come out of this experience. My mom was going to get cancer, go through treatment, evolve as a person because look, that's a character arc. And then she would be done with treatment because she is a good person, so she will have a good ending. This was validated when after only 2 rounds of her R-CHOP chemotherapy regimen, she actually went into remission. So the remaining 4 were just to make sure that there were no lingering cancer cells anywhere. Otherwise, she was already kind of in the clear. So it felt like a victory to this karmic balance that I had adhered to so strongly and believed in with full faith. But let me tell you, when the cancer had metastasized to my mom's brain and spinal cord, and we learned that she had a single-digit survival rate, and I went home to be her primary caregiver and witnessed firsthand as the more aggressive treatments just tore her apart and impacted her so severely, and she went through so many setbacks and had so many complications, that breakdown of my foundation was not like a chisel going at it. It was like a sledgehammer, and it all came crumbling down in a way that you would not expect after 26 years of positive reinforcement. The whole notion of good things happening to good people is just a lie that is created to make us feel more comfortable when we're going through a really tough time. In reality, there is nothing that says that good things have to come after something bad happens. That is a fallacy. The odds don't ever have to be in your favor. You can just suffer until you die. In the years since my mom's passing, my conviction about that actually being the reality in which we live has only gotten stronger based on other events that have happened. Like I said in the video I released on August 6th, my brother got hit by a van while he was riding his motorcycle, and he miraculously survived the collision and then all the subsequent surgeries he needed to be able to repair his body. But while he was recovering, a blood clot formed, and just as he was starting to go through rehab, it ended his life. So he had all of that suffering and hardship and that pain for several weeks only to just die. That's it. So how can anyone, when you hear stories like that, say good things come to good people? It just does not make sense, unfortunately. I wish it were the case. I wish life worked that way, but it doesn't. And it is a hard pill to swallow that silver linings are not a guarantee. But at some point, it is a reality that we all have to face. In my early 20s, I read a book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss, which is about a psychiatrist who uses hypnotherapy and past life regressions to help one of his patients. It was mind-blowing to me and so captivating, and it sent me down this rabbit hole of reading everything I possibly could about souls, the soul realm, past life regressions, and the life between lives. While I'll never know if anything I read is true, because like all religions, nothing is provable, one learning that has really helped me in this post good things happen to good people world in which I now live is that if we are these infinite souls who are choosing to incarnate on Earth to learn lessons that we can't in whatever ethereal realm is out there, then the hardships that we may endure may not pay off in this lifetime, and you may end up just suffering and then dying, but it might have a grander purpose on the other side, whatever that may be. Based on the last 10 years of my life and all the suffering that me and my family have experienced, I'm much more inclined to believe that, especially as a lot of bad things keep happening to good people and a lot of good things keep happening to some really bad people. I'll be uploading another video tomorrow, August 11th, where I'll be talking about how your priorities can shift after going through a medical crisis. So hit subscribe, leave any questions in the comments. The link to my book is in the description, and I will see you all tomorrow.